You know, back when I was in the academy, we would follow every toast with a song.
Oh, it's so slurpy, that sound. There's so much of the slurping. I'm getting a little bit of echo here in my headphones. Today was Good Morning MugClub. This is what, episode 5? 6?
Number 4?
I was way off. We have Ted Nugent. Ted Nugent on the show today. Our Jocko correspondent, Mandy, will be here, and we'll be talking about Joe Rogan, Bernie Sanders. What else? Our exclusive, called NBC. To talk about the chloroquine fish tank cleaner lady.
Nice.
And they were none too happy to hear from me.
They didn't just welcome you open arms?
No, they didn't. It was more of a blatant rejection.
All right, so normal.
Yeah, pretty much normal.
The Dikembe Mutombo right to the face. Get out of my house.
What's that?
Well, that's an old school reference there.
Is
Yeah.
that White Men Can't Jump?
Yeah, it's similar.
I don't think so.
Which one is it?
Yeah, you're. Don't worry. You're
Okay.
Woody Harrelson.
All right. By the way, this is the month of MugClub Quarantine. That's the hashtag MugClub Quarantine. You enter in the promo code Quarantine, you will get $30 off. That's our biggest discounts in Box Apocalypse because I know everyone else is gone. They're not in their studios. But look at me. Look.
Oh.
No Skype call.
Yeah.
No Skype call. When we turn this on, you don't hear.
Bathroom.
That's my impression of the Skype sound.
We have better mics
It's
than you
not
do,
very
so.
good. You guys do have better mics.
I thought
than
it was
me.
pretty accurate.
And loudwithcrowder.com/schedule, so you can see all of the live broadcasts. Today we're going to be taking a lot of your chats. So the chat is only available on BlazeTV because they do not let us do...
Link in description.
Well, they let us do chat on YouTube, but they don't pay nothing.
They don't pay nothing?
So, no,
Does that mean
no.
they pay something?
No, well, come on, stop with you trying to get all grammatical Nazi with me. And right now, look, Quarter Black Garrett and Audio A. Do you see this over there?
Yeah.
They're having a little
mumbling.
What's going on? It's live. What's
planning.
wrong?
Yeah,
Just
we're
tell
having
us
a good
what's
time.
wrong.
We'll do it
all
live.
good.
It's distracting. I'd
you.
rather know what's wrong.
Blaze is
Yeah.
not getting audio, so we're just going to make sure
Blaze
that they
is not
get that.
getting audio?
Yeah.
Well, screw me. You guys should get your crap together. Half-Asian lawyer Bill Richmond here for the first time in the morning, and Gerald A. All right, so let's...
I don't think
Do
it's
you
the
want me
first
to?
time.
Do you need me to buy some time then before we go to the first story?
No, we just had to restart it
Oh, okay. We restarted the stream
on the Blaze side. Yeah.
on the Blaze side. We apologize for that. So chat now.
Could have
Bill.
totally fixed it without any words, but so.
I didn't want to. Yeah, it's hard to fix it when it's like it's like the three blind
no, they
mice
got
right
it.
here.
Yeah,
One's
they
like your
got it.
tail's missing.
I thought they
just
were
stare at
talking
you with
about
wide
Gerald.
eyes, you
Like
know?
I literally thought like they're literally gonna see if they should cut Gerald's mic.
Well, yeah.
Oh, no,
That-
that
we can
happens
do that easy.
No,
routinely.
I have a button right here for that.
I was like, didn't we have a whole meeting about how you guys can just cut his mic off anytime?
Anytime you want.
Like,
set up.
you know,
Don't
we
worry
like
about
went
it.
through
Oh, yeah.
it. We like signed.
You've already been given the
documents.
authority to do so as well.
All right.
we
That's what I-
repurposed the cough button
Thanks.
to the Gerald button.
Oh.
Also, Gerald can't be bothered to bring his own pajamas.
I don't have
As you
them.
should know, some
I don't own
inside
them.
baseball here. Gerald refuses to bring. Gerald
I don't
doesn't have
refuse.
pajamas.
Thank you.
Bill refuses to wear pajamas.
Yes, that's correct.
So we all
We're very
agree,
insubordinate.
Good morning, MugClub. So we're all going to
Yeah,
wear
I love
pajamas. It'll be a
pajamas.
theme. And then
Yeah.
Gerald's like, I don't have any. We're like, oh, that's an unsolvable problem.
Hey,
And
like a
then Bill-
Venezuelan election, I was not present at the voting
Neither was
to
I.
decide we were
Neither
going
was
to
I.
wear pajamas. But now I'm going to go all in on
And
pajamas.
like the Venezuelan election,
time.
it means nothing because I am the final say.
Exactly.
Put on your smoking jacket.
Yes.
Everyone's staying safe. No one has any slight coughs, tickles.
No
Nope.
COVID
Nothing more
reported
than
here.
normal.
We'll be
Audio's
talking
should be
about that
asymptomatic,
quite a
though.
bit right now, and they're talking at CNN right now about
150 beds. This will happen at the Meadowlands Exposition
beds.
Center.
Sure enough, more doom and gloom. By the way, apparently they don't. They overestimated how many hospital beds they were going to need.
Hey, look,
did.
they've got two more right there.
They have 2 more beds.
2 beds.
Right in front of
And
our
on
very
CNN,
eyes.
you can expect them to say, of course, they were planning on hospital beds. However, they were only sent cots due to the administration's lack of foresight. Now, what can you say about the cots there, Dr. Sanjay Gupta? Well, as a practicing physician, cots are definitively less comfortable than Sertas. It's a real shame. It's a real shame that Donald Trump didn't have the foresight to take proper precautions and ensure that every American can have a sleep number over there in the hospitals. It's true. And now they're paying for it.
No pillow top on the cot.
No pillow top.
Okay, gotcha.
There is none.
No, it's just
Terrible.
because that guy, the My Fit Pillow guy, is too busy. Is it My Perfect Pillow?
My
No,
pillow.
my
Here's the
pillow.
thing.
My
I really
Pillow, your pillow.
appreciate.
My Pillow.
I really appreciate the My Pillow guy
Yeah.
changing over to masks. Absolutely, I appreciate that.
Yeah.
Good for him. That's American ingenuity. That's coming together. But the pillow really is terrible. It is. It is
don't
like
know,
a bunch
man.
of packing.
Maybe
heat
there's
in
a reason
Ziploc
he
bag.
could.
Swear by the pillow. I'm telling you.
Do they really?
Yeah, people. What you think he sold a bunch of pillows because they're crappy? I'm telling you, the people who
That
I know
happens
who
in
have the
America.
pillow, it does happen. It does happen
Across the world.
Yeah, it does happen.
But People like the
We're
pillow.
talking about needing clinical trials on
Yeah.
chloroquine. I want double-blind, placebo-controlled clinical trials on my pillow, on my perfect pillow.
what's the
because people are saying it
comparison?
improved it. The placebo would be any pillow that's
What's your
not
favorite
my
pillow brand then?
What
Mr.
is it?
Pillow
There's
Man?
There's one that's called. I didn't. Well, listen.
Not very
you
memorable,
coined that
though.
term, not me.
Not very memorable.
Indulgence is the name of the pillow. I think I got at Bed Bath and Beyond, and it's quite nice. I do feel quite indulgent.
There you go.
It's like a perfume brand.
It's stuffed with live
All
weasels.
right. So we have a lot to talk about.
Yeah.
We're going to get to the exclusive call with the NBC member,
Yes.
which, by the way, she wrote the report, so her name, we didn't remove her name, the one lady who
Well,
wrote the
yeah,
reporter
hey,
at NBC.
Are they having Jersey Shore on CNN right now?
What is this right now?
Evidently, he's a
does-
pastor.
We have abs.
Known cases, and we felt like the spotlight was just kind of all on us in that moment.
Here to speak out against the president is the only pastor left in the Northern Hemisphere with mutton chops.
Ever, pretty much.
This guy looks like he needs a G6.
Nice.
So grateful to
got the Amish
Not nice.
facial hair with the modern pastor.
Yeah, exactly.
garb.
He has the
Modern kid,
modern
yeah.
sort of Hitler Youth haircut.
Right, yeah,
But then he has
exactly.
the old school beat cop mutton chops.
Man, this guy is a melting pot of
Talk about this.
amazing
I don't know what they're
stereotypes.
doing here.
He's the guy. He's like, all right, Jesus, give us the drum solo right during the praise and worship session.
Give it up to Josh in the background. He's jumping in the
By the way,
drums.
somewhere Rob Bell is hanging himself with bed sheets because he isn't getting the airtime that this guy is right now.
Right, yeah. I wrote a book.
I wrote a book about how Christians are wrong about being Christians. Okay, so the first story I want to get to, this is just a perfect example, and yeah, we'll be taking a lot of your chat here today.
Yes.
Joe Rogan caught a lot of flack. Did you guys see
did.
this? Caught a lot of
Yes.
flack for saying that, and this is a guy who endorsed Bernie Sanders, by the way, and
Yeah,
I thought
like
that was
2
silly.
weeks ago.
Very silly.
Very silly.
And I don't know necessarily why he did it, but I know Joe. I wouldn't say we're necessarily close friends, but I said, kind of a mistake. And I think now he's seeing why, because liberals had a meltdown over these. We have this clip, the recent comments that he made regarding Biden versus Trump.
This is the real issue with the Democratic Party. They've essentially made us all morons.
Yeah.
With this Joe Biden thing, they really have. They
you
made us all
imagine?
morons.
Who do we need? I mean,
I
none
can't
of-
vote for that guy.
I can't vote for him.
Wait, is
I
that
can't
guy
vote
Joe
for him.
Biden?
No, that's
vote for
Robert
Trump.
Smith.
He just
Dude,
stutters
I'd
like
rather
it.
vote for Trump than him.
There you go.
I don't think he could handle anything.
Old
Now,
Tim
let me
Burton.
be really clear here. Joe Rogan did not say he will vote for Trump. So
Right.
in his defense, Joe Rogan, and I know there's always a lot of caveats like, well, I'm
Yeah.
pro-gun, but, well, I'm this, but, well, Donald Trump does this, but. He hedges everything that he has to say, and it's kind of sad to live in that world where you have to do it. But I do want to be clear because people are attacking him for something that he didn't say. He didn't say, I will vote for Trump. He said, I'd probably rather Trump than Biden,
Yeah.
which really isn't all that extreme of a statement when you consider that one of them has extreme dementia and shows up on stage like he drank a bucket of salt water right before emerging from his hut.
He's just like an empty suit right now. It's just I don't know how anybody could put him up for a candidate in any election and vote for him.
A couple of facts here really quickly. With Democrats, Biden leads Sanders by 22 points. And then when you look at Trump and Biden neck and neck, 55% of Trump voters very enthusiastic. Biden only 28%. And this is something that's important too. While we're saying, hey, I would rather have Trump versus Biden, sometimes it's kind of tough when you have candidates before they're in a general election, right? It's kind of tough to know exactly what will happen. Remember back in the day, they did that sort of virtual fight with Muhammad Ali and Rocky Marciano? They put in some metrics and saw who would win, and that was the basis for, what is it, Rocky 19?
I think that was 22.
Is that what Rocky 22?
yeah.
Then,
It's really close.
Then they created Creed. And I don't know why I'm in the minority where I think that Creed is an awful film. But
You're not.
it's like
It's
the pitch was,
horrible.
okay, listen, we're going to take Rocky, and remove all the likable characters and iconic music.
And dude,
I like the
What
cut
kind
of
of
your
pitch
jib,
it to the
kid.
kids?
Can we make it more black? We can make it all black. Very nice.
I thought it was a ploy to make everyone like the older Rockies more and rewatch those, right?
Right.
it drove you
That
back to those.
40 chest.
Unfortunately, had the exact opposite effect, where it's like, oh, they came out with a new. You know what? I should go back and watch Ninja Turtles 2. Leave it there. Leave it there. Just let it be. So, but in this case, we don't necessarily have to look at a bunch of hypotheticals with Donald Trump and Joe Biden, because the one thing that obviously right now I just read an article. It's the coronavirus stupid. Clever little title,
I like it.
because that's going to be the determining factor in the election. And as much as people want to say that Donald Trump has done a terrible job, I don't agree with that. We know for a fact that Joe Biden was against the travel ban, which Donald Trump pulled pretty early on, right? Now he flip-flops just this last week, and he said that, you know what, we do need the China travel ban. Bernie's still against it. Which doesn't make a whole lot of sense. It really does. When people say
whoa. What do you mean it doesn't make sense? Bernie's a communist. He loves his communist friends. What doesn't make sense about that? This is a time when people need to be able to stick together who like each other, and nobody goes better together than Chinese communists and Bernie.
That's true. That's like peanut butter and jelly, which is really an odd combination when you think about it.
It is.
That someone said,
you never think.
Salty and
you
sweet.
know, go great with this. Cream. What? Welch's.
Put it on there.
I have no idea.
Jam.
It's disgusting. I like peanut butter and honey and banana. But the point here is that's not really what's most important. It is remarkable to me that Bernie Sanders, before all this, he talked about how Americans shouldn't have to compete against effectively slave labor in these other countries. And he was really kind of a nationalist. So when people like Joe Rogan come out and say, Bernie's been consistent, you can't catch him on anything, I go, well, hold on a second. I think a lot of people will be surprised when they see in the general, maybe even 60% of Bernie Sanders supporters go to Trump. I guarantee you it'll be closer to a 50-50 split than people think. Yeah. All of his supporters are not going to go to Biden, just like they didn't go to Hillary Clinton. But the reason for that, I think, is that at one point in time, Bernie Sanders sort of espoused this American protectionism, which I don't entirely agree with, but it was tinged with a little bit of America First nationalism.
Yeah, I could see him doing much better in a general than Biden, because think about it this way. If people are pissed off about the response to coronavirus, they're looking for somebody who exudes confidence and leadership.
Yeah.
He's not putting sentences together very well on TV right now. So
nobody's
nobody's kind of like
thoughts.
The 28% was the amount of time that he's actually lucid, and that wasn't just when his people were supporting him, right? So it's just there's no way he can stand up and say I'm the guy to lead us through this challenge.
Right.
So of course you would vote. Okay, I may have to hold my nose, but I'm going to vote for Trump, right? That's what you're pretty much going to see from other Dems.
Well, and I don't know. I mean, you probably just have to hold your nose if you vote for Biden if you're there at the debate, because he poops. He often poops himself.
He does.
He poops so much.
A little
Joe
known
Biden.
fact.
Yeah, it's a little known fact, and he doesn't. And it's really sad when you soil yourself and you're beyond the point where you know how to fold a Depends properly.
Yeah.
This is what we need to be converting our factories over to. Not N95.
Depends. Well, they can also act like. I'm sure they could also act like respirator masks. People just walk around with upside down diapers. I am your father. Very nice. I appreciate it.
Joe, don't use the used one. Not again.
You know what I hope I really don't, and we have a traffic report coming up pretty soon. But before that, you know what I really hope we don't see with Joe Rogan? I really hope we don't see an apology here. I really hope that we don't see Joe Rogan walk this back. And as I've appeared on his show, so bias alert, obviously. I've worked with him personally. He's been on this show. That being said, I do see a lot of walking things back a little bit. Not just Joe Rogan, but people in positions of power who host podcasts or who are on air, regardless of their political leanings. I don't want to see that happen right now. In other words, Joe Rogan said nothing wrong. He didn't say, first off, it wouldn't be wrong if he said, you know what? Here, we've got Biden. I'm going to vote for Donald Trump. That wouldn't have been wrong. No. But him saying, you know what? Democrats have made morons out of all of this. I've endorsed Bernie Sanders, and now it's Trump and Bernie. At this point, I would probably rather have Trump than Biden. Sorry. There is nothing controversial about that. No. And what I want to see is Joe Rogan go more on the offensive right now at this point. And say, you know what, folks? Okay, I have the biggest podcast known to man. Almost everyone else just exists in my orbit, and you can go fornicate yourself with a wire brush. How about that? You know what? Hey, see, I love it for him to just come out and like show his NRA card and say, now you've converted me to a Republican forever. And I don't think that'll ever happen. I don't think he'll become a Republican. But you know what? I wouldn't be surprised if behind closed doors, Joe Rogan probably votes for Donald Trump over Joe Biden. How does Joe Biden represent not only middle America, but how does Joe Biden represent anyone in the entertainment industry, the Hollywood elite?
Anybody, period.
No. Who does he represent, Joe Biden? All. I don't understand it. Is it just old people?
Push-ups.
Is it just the people here who are buying gold, listening to Sanjay Gupta on CNN? Yeah. Who does Joe Biden represent? Can someone let me know? Is it maybe just this sort of amalgamate of people saying he's the only one who can run, he's the only one who can beat Donald Trump, and then people being nervous about Bernie Sanders because he is a far-left socialist, and so this is just kind of what we ended up with because it's his time, sort of like Hillary Clinton. I just don't know how they ended up here. And remember, everyone was saying this in the show, like, it's going to be Joe Biden. I said, it's going to be an old, crazy white guy? At one point, I said, I don't know, I think it'll be Harris. I think maybe it'll be butt gig because I thought they needed to keep, the whole
That'll be like a young thing.
And instead, we end up with not only a crazy old white guy, but a crazy old white guy who makes Ron Paul look positively tepid.
It definitely does.
I do like his unerring support of push-ups, right? I mean, guy push-ups, lady push-ups, Marine push-ups, push-up bras. I mean, he's into all of them.
Big fan of Hindu push-ups.
And,
he does them at every 7-Eleven. He walks and goes, right? You guys, Hindu. All right, I'll have a Slurpee.
It's just where is he right now, right? Yeah, everyone is asking that, whether you're on the left or the right. People
Do you mean
are saying,
physically or mentally? Because the two could be very different places.
well, it's clear we're not trying to put them in the same place, but
Right.
just are they at least put something forward to be a leader? And he's not, and it's conspicuous. The conspicuous absence here is something that even folks who want to vote for him or vote Democrat are saying, "Holy crap!
Yeah.
Is this really our guy?"
Yeah, it's just crazy to me the outrage that we saw with Joe Rogan over this.
Yeah.
That is what's crazy
It
to me.
is.
Hold on really quickly. We do have to go. We do have a traffic report, actually. We know a lot of you have to deal with some complications right now with the lockdown morning commute. So it's time for a traffic report with Thomas Finnegan. Mr. Finnegan, are you there, sir?
I am here, Stephen.
Great. Well, thank you for being here. What can people expect this morning on their way to work?
Well, more about that later. I was in the hospital for a couple of days following last week's incident with the stray sock.
Oh, no.
Yeah.
But I'm well on the road to recovery.
Okay. Well, what does that mean, well on the road to recovery?
My foot is fine. However, I seem to have developed a bit of a dry cough.
Okay.
Traffic is about the same as last week.
Okay. Is there anything of note that we should know about as far as traffic? Right? About the same doesn't mean exactly the same.
Yeah.
It's exactly the same.
Okay. All right. Thank you very much. This has been the traffic report with Thomas Finnegan. All right. I apologize, Joe. Before we went to that completely useless phone call.
Yeah, it seems unnecessary. Almost.
What were you about to say?
I was about to say that you're right in that we're looking for a leader, right? Thank you. I was actually talking to Bill. But you're right. People are looking for a leader to kind of step forward, and his absence is conspicuous. But every time they have tried to put him out there, it only makes things worse for him. Like the last few interviews he's done on TV have just been progressively worse each time. And so I think the strategy for them needs to be just to stay out of the way and see if Donald Trump will take it on the chin for the rest of the response to coronavirus and then come back when this settles down, because every time he goes out, I'm less confident in him being able to do anything in a general
Wait, are you
election.
saying Donald Trump take it on the chin?
Donald, that's their hope.
Yeah.
Right? They want him to take it on the chin and be so knocked down from his response to
No,
the
here's the thing.
coronavirus.
No, it's a bad analogy. You know why? Because Donald Trump takes everything on the chin.
Doesn't matter.
That's his greatest quality.
Exactly.
He's the
Steel.
Jake LaMotta. He is an iron head of
He's
like
made
all
of
he
iron.
does is take it on the chin and he's standing there like Ray LaMotta in the Sugar Ray Robinson and Raging Bull. He's like, "You never got me down. You didn't get me down, Jake Tapper, okay? You never got me down." That's what it is. He is
That's true.
incredible.
It really is, yeah.
It's amazing, kind of like I would like to see a little bit more from, bobbing and weaving, like, okay, they're going to say, "I'm not prepared, bring up the
Just
China."
down
But
there.
instead, he's just like, excuse me, that's very nasty. That's very, and you're like, boom, boom, boom. You know how demoralizing that is? That's why the media's going absolutely crazy. It's an analogy,
They're
but
punching
I'm
themselves
serious.
out, too.
What is happening is when you hit somebody as hard as you possibly can, and that's what they've done with Trump. They did it with Russia, they did it with impeachment, and now they're doing it with coronavirus, and his approval rating is going up. When you stand there, and you can watch this in certain boxing matches, right? You can see it where you hit someone as hard as humanly possible, and they keep on walking. You go, "Oh shit! I got nothing else."
Yeah, exactly.
Because usually it's like, okay, he slipped it, maybe all right, okay, he was evasive. Donald Trump, that's his whole strategy.
Yeah,
Just sit there, take it on the chin, and then eventually give you one.
Exactly.
And that's his press briefing.
I'm really interested to see Trump's second term because the media has just run all of their options out. And I don't know what they're going to do for the next
I wouldn't be surprised if he whipped out his Schwanson and took a piss right on Acosta's forehead. It's like, guess what? Impeachment, hey, Jamie Cracker, hey, Acosta, Jamie Cracker, how's
What are you
that
going to
feel?
do about it?
Jimmy Cracker. Dick slap. So that's what I think would happen. I think he's going to be so bold. I mean, what does he have to lose?
Did you see the when some reporter was reading a Biden tweet? So it was like, I don't know if you saw this, but Joe Biden just tweeted something and tagged you. He said he didn't tweet that. No, he has people. He has people, and he's not. And Joe Biden, he's not watching right now. And let's be honest, if he's watching, he doesn't understand it.
It was an amazing quote.
So
it
good.
was.
Yeah.
You know what I love? I will say this. Joe Rogan, something else that people missed in that podcast. Do we really call them podcasts at this point?
I don't
Because
know.
he's airing it on YouTube.
Yes.
But
Call it a show.
he said something else that I think is very telling. Donald Trump really hasn't aged much as president. When you
look like
compare
it,
it to
yeah.
George
Right.
W. Bush, when you compare it to
Barack Obama
Barack
grades
Obama.
so much.
I
in
mean,
that first term.
it could just
Fair.
be because he tans and he dyes his hair. But as far as energy,
yeah.
like he went in where people were saying this is an old person who's incompetent, and right now they're still just saying he's an old person who's incompetent. But then they trot out Joe Biden, and people go,
Yeah.
"Oh, okay, maybe you don't really care about old
contrast.
and or incompetent."
Yeah, both of your candidates
and
left
or
are
white.
old.
And that's something he's gotten flack for too, just objectively saying that Donald Trump really hasn't aged all that much. It is kind of remarkable to me.
Yeah.
I didn't really think about it until Joe Rogan said it. Think he's tweeting just as much. He's out there right now. He's doing
He's still
press
as
briefings
feisty as
every
he's
night.
always been. Yeah.
Oh my God! Why do we have? It's a Q-tip.
To 72 hours is where we think we have enough ventilators to get us through.
Across
We're
New York State,
watching
more
the
than half in
numbers
NYC.
very closely.
By the way, one
They
other
have more
thing,
than
I don't know
you,
if we have a
but-
source for this to bring it up, but we'll move on to the NBC call, or we can actually go to chat in a little bit. But they're counting every single death in New York City and New York State that involves COVID at all as a coronavirus death.
Right.
And that, to me, is really bothersome. In other words, if someone has leukemia, a heart condition, pneumonia, and then at the end of all that, they test positive for coronavirus,
Right.
it's being listed as a corona death.
Right.
Some people, I don't think this is true. There were rumors circulating that even people who die like in car accidents who test positive for COVID are listed. I don't believe that's true. I wasn't able to
That would
verify
be-
it.
yeah.
I
That
would
would
tend
be
to believe that it's not
ridiculous.
true. However, the idea of really listing one primary cause of death, even though there are severe comorbidities, that is not in line with the standard and how we always measure deaths across this country. We don't do that. If someone has leukemia, if someone has severe cancer, and they're undergoing chemotherapy, and then they also happen to get influenza, we don't list that as an influenza death.
Yeah, they're not drawing a distinction between dying of COVID and dying with COVID.
Right. Yeah.
That's the main distinction.
Well, there's no reason not to. I mean, everything that's geared right now, the hysteria, the resources, etc. Everyone is
fault.
geared towards. Yeah, it's one, you get to blame Trump. The higher the numbers are, the better it gets to be. And I don't think that that's everyone, right? I'm not saying like the coroners down there, like switching them all over. But there are.
Sure.
We have to take these numbers with a grain of salt to say, how are we actually interpreting them, and what are we going to do from a policy perspective as a result of them? And if every single person is like, well, let's just go ahead and put this guy down too, even though he was about to die anyways.
Yeah, and what I want to know too is if these people who had died, who had all these other things going on as well, if they had gotten the regular flu, or if they had gotten really anything, would that have been the tipping point with anything, or is it that COVID-19 is so severe that it killed them? You know what I mean? Like I think it matters how these people would have fared with regular flu that would go around every single year
If they had other complications.
Yeah,
I think
with
it's
other
important. Something that
complications.
is undeniable, though, is the
It's
fact
helpful
that
to
the you have a better chance of getting on chloroquine early on with a Z-Pack than you do of not using it and praying for the best with a respirator. Sorry, not a respirator, a ventilator. And Donald Trump said that, and people were saying, oh my gosh, how heartless is he? No, this is unbelievable to me. I don't think we've ever seen a more anti-science driven media right now when they're talking. Now, no one here in this room has said, chloroquine absolutely works. We've said that the clinical data that is available, both in vitro and in vivo, and then you look at the anecdotal evidence, is pretty positive at this
Very
point,
positive,
and it should certainly be provided as an option. And now it is provided as an emergency treatment from the FDA, a medical option.
Yeah.
The other side of the aisle right now, they're saying there is no proof, there's nothing definitive at all. No, there is quite a bit of definitive proof, by the way, and you can't have it both ways, because they're also, right now, they're talking about shortages. This is something I was seeing on CNN this morning, where they're saying, the problem with this, too, is if we stockpile it, people who need it, who have lupus or rheumatoid arthritis, who've been taking this for years, won't have access to it. Hold on a second. You just said that it's a very dangerous drug that we don't know how it'll interact with humans. Here's the thing. You can say that you can make the claim that it is not fully tested in the way that a drug classically is when it comes to phase 1, 2, 3 clinical trials, specifically in its efficacy against coronavirus. You can say that. What you cannot say is that this is an unsafe drug, that we're in uncharted territory. We have no idea how people will react. And by the way, we can't have a shortage because the hundreds of thousands of people with lupus and rheumatoid arthritis or malaria use it all. They need access to that medicine. Which is it? Is it dangerous? Is it a drug that's completely untested? Or is it a drug that has already been FDA approved, has a remarkable safety profile, and has been used for a litany of ailments for a long time now, and it delivers promise on this one that isn't entirely verified? Pick one. This is why people don't believe your shit.
Right, exactly. Well, I think, Stephen, it depends on which way Trump goes. They'll go the opposite.
Right.
They would have been yelling at them like,
he goes.
this thing is out there. We use it for everything. Why can't we try this? Donald Trump's keeping it from us, right? They had that ready to go, I guarantee.
I think all we need right now is Trump to come out and say, Nope, no chloroquine. Nope, nobody do anything with it.
Right.
Nope, we're not going to do it. And then overnight, it's going to turn. Trump refuses to investigate important new. You're going to get Chris Cuomo's out there.
Chris Cuomo's going to be gobbling them like M&M's.
If I had only had the chloroquine, I would have been cured. I mean, it's absurd.
Yeah,
It's just like when we talked about if Trump came out and said, "I identify as a woman. I'm the first woman president." Right?
I'd be like,
and everybody would be like,
anti-science Trump believes he can change biology.
Exactly.
Also, he's ugly as hell.
They have to have like both sides of these arguments going, like the Super Bowl where like the losing team stuff just gets sold over somewhere in China. Like they've got all these like placards for Donald Trump and all this stuff. Like he's saying that chloroquine can't work and it can. And they're like, oh, we can't use that. We got to go with the other one, guys.
Hold on a second. You're about to say something there.
I was just going to say we have a chat from Natalie here. She has a question about the Joe Rogan thing. So she says, I don't understand, but what is the difference between what Rogan is saying about Trump over Biden versus all the Bernie bros who did the same in 2016? So a lot of folks in 2016 pivoted from Bernie to Trump. And she's saying, what's the difference between that and what's going on with Rogan?
There's no
difference. And you know what? You know how I can prove that that this is something that happened back then? We got a lot of flack, by the way. A lot of flack from those in the conservative media, from sort of the legacy outlets, the people like at Fox News, people who might be working for some of the major publications, and not unwarranted. They were saying, why are you focusing so much on Bernie Sanders? It seems like it's just because he's cannon fodder for comedy. Well, namely, the fact that this is primarily a comedy show, I won't lie and say that isn't taken into account. But at that point, everyone was talking about Hillary Clinton.
Right.
We had the analytics on YouTube, through Google, and of course at loudwithcrowder.com, where we a lot of people don't realize this, we get many, many, many millions of people who come in, traffic at loudwithcrowder.com, particularly at that point going into the election. So we had all this data. We were saying, hold on a second, we can see that a lot of people who are searching, who are pro-Bernie Sanders, actually are surprisingly turning up in a lot of this Trump-related content now that Hillary Clinton is going to be the candidate. So we always focused on Bernie Sanders back then because this is how I've said it, and I will repeat it again. Hillary Clinton was the coronation, Bernie Sanders was the movement candidate. And people who were involved with a movement, and a big part of that movement was looking out for the American middle class first and being anti-establishment. They didn't go to Hillary Clinton in droves. They either didn't vote, or I would say I would wager that a significant amount of them, more than have even actually come up in any kind of polling, went to Donald Trump. This is the exact same thing happening right now. I think that they are anticipating a voter turnout for Joe Biden that is highly unlikely, and I think they'll be surprised. All right, so speaking of the chloroquine stuff, we have to move on to this phone call. Then we have Ted Nugent in about 10 minutes. Geez, we are running late. You know what? Maybe the show's just going to go late today, because who gives a rat's ass? So
it's our
morning.
show.
Last week, you guys remember that we revealed this, the chloroquine lady, the lady who drank fish tank cleaner. Okay, the lady who drank fish tank cleaner and... She said she drank fish tank cleaner.
That's true.
Her husband most definitely drank fish tank cleaner. Her husband died, right? And she gave the interview. Go back and watch it, where she said, we took it because we trusted Trump, and nobody else should ever do the same. Well, that we went through, that was a story you were told, and there was some publicly available information, but the media was not interested in it, that she was a prolific Democratic donor, that she hated Donald Trump, this was well documented, and that she had a history of mental illness and violent outbursts. What was exclusive to us is that we found the court case where she was charged, ultimately found not guilty, but charged with domestic assault, and there were several different occasions where she wanted to divorce her husband and said that she was angry all the time. So, let's recap this. This was a woman who was sold as a pro-Trump lady who died taking fish tank cleaner with her husband, when in fact she hated Donald Trump and she hated her husband. So we thought that this might be relevant to the original reporters at NBC. They co-wrote this story, and we called them offering the evidence. This lady is there was Vaughn, I can't remember his name, and then Erica,
what was her last name?
Erica Edwards. They co-wrote the original article at NBC. Not doxing. You can find it at NBC if you search this and you go back to the original article. This is the one that was shared like a virus across all other mainstream outlets. So we tried to go directly to the source and see if the media wanted to do the journalism that their journalistic jobs typically entail.
Sounds logical.
And my half-Asian lawyer, Bill Richmond, is here. Let's play the audio if we have it.
Hi, it's Erica.
Hi, Erica Edwards. Stephen Crowder calling. How are you?
Good. How are you?
Good. Thank you so much. I'm so sorry that I missed your call. Do you have a minute?
Sure, what's up?
Well, I'm calling because I'm actually writing a story here, and I have some information from an anonymous source that I want to keep anonymous. And I know that you guys over there, obviously discretion is pretty important. It's regarding the woman who drank the fish tank cleaner, the chloroquine, which I believe I was trying to find who wrote it. I believe you co-wrote it with Vaughn Hilliard.
Yeah, and so where are you calling from?
So right now I'm actually calling from, but this isn't number.
Okay, but I mean, do you work?
Pause.
Are you
Pause.
like a
Just so you know,
freelancer?
I said I'm calling from Fuckville, and she didn't laugh, so I knew it wasn't going to be a good call. That's why I had to bleep it. Yeah.
Wow.
I knew that was a bad sign. Sorry, continue.
If you don't laugh at Fuckville, then
Or
Yes, I'm a freelancer, and you know, again, I know it's. I've done some legwork there, and I know it's important to keep her obviously anonymous. I mean, I'm assuming you know the person in question who you wrote about. Sorry, I should ask that first.
Sure, yeah, absolutely.
Okay, so you did write the story, and you are aware that it's great. So I wanted to ask you this. I've come upon some information. You're doing some digging. The story originally that was published, stated that she drank fish tank cleaner, and obviously, sadly, her husband died. And there's an interview that was posted where she said she did it because she saw it from a Trump press conference, correct?
Yes.
Okay. And then she did say that she trusted him and that no one should do the same. I have the article up right here. I wanted to know, since you know her name, were you aware of the fact that she was you must be a prolific Democratic donor?
I'm sorry?
Did you guys, you know her name, and obviously it's public record. Most people don't have the name because I understand it's anonymous, and rightfully so.
I didn't say her name, but I don't understand what your question
No, you didn't say her name, but I'm just saying I know her name. I was just confirming that way I'm not letting the cat out of the bag. So you know the woman in question, and obviously you guys do great journalism there at NBC News. So I wanted to know if you had discovered, if you came upon this information or can confirm that she is a Democratic donor who gave to Hillary in 2016 and repeatedly throughout her lifetime.
I don't know anything that's not even relevant to the story, quite frankly.
Well, isn't it relevant because she said that she did it because Trump told her to, and there are multiple sources here that show she was virulently anti-Trump as an activist for a long time. So it seems peculiar that she would all of a sudden decide to take medical advice from Donald Trump when she also gave to pro-science, anti-right-wing, anti-science ideology, as it's stated here, nonprofits.
Okay. Do you have a question for me? I mean, this sounds like it's your story.
Well, I am asking if you knew this when you posted the story, because it seems like it would be pretty relevant, no? That someone went out there saying no one should trust President Trump,
I think that you have a specific story that you're trying to tell, and that's totally cool.
No, see, I think that you did. I think that either you didn't do your due diligence. Also, let me move on here. Are you aware about the assault case with her husband? That she mentioned divorcing her husband? Because this is a totally separate instance here. We're not talking about politics, but she openly wanted to divorce her husband, and we found the court documents of her being charged with assault against her husband, who died from drinking the fish tank cleaner. Were you aware of that?
I think that you have a story there that you should go with. That's not my
Well, let me ask, since you published the original story,
I say Godspeed to you.
Would you be willing to correct the story since this is relevant information? Do you not see it as relevant information that a woman who went out saying she did something because she was a supporter of Trump, when we know that she's not, and she couldn't stand her husband? I have the evidence. I can send it to you. Would that be relevant? Would you like to care? I don't have a big news outlet. That's the thing. I have this information. I have corroborated it 100% with authorities. I would love to get it to you because I would love to see the truth get out here because, as we know, as journalists, it's very important. It's your story. You can take it. I don't want the credit. I just want to make sure the truth is out there. And I can send you all of this evidence.
If you would, I think that you have a story to tell, and I wish you good luck.
I think you have the truth to tell here, and I would like to provide it to you, NBC News. Do you understand that this is the definition of fake news at this point? I can provide you evidence right now that she was...
Well,
very upset. By the way, it should be noted we sent this email. I think we have a screenshot to both her and the co-writer with verification, corroboration of the evidence, and no response.
Maybe they're working on it. Maybe they're working on it.
Maybe they're working on
it.
Sounds to me like you have a story to tell. Sounds to me like you have a retraction to write.
Yeah.
That was an interesting response.
I don't see how it's relevant to the story. Hold on a second. You ran a story where a lady... This is what's so remarkable to me. You ran a story where a man died because him and his wife trusted Donald Trump and drank fish tank cleaner. Turns out they don't like Donald Trump at all, and she hated her husband.
Yeah.
That's pretty relevant, by the way.
You could say
very
it's
relevant.
pretty relevant.
Well, especially because it wasn't just an unbiased report of it. It was basically making it sound like this was a Trump supporter following the leader.
That's exactly what it was. It was a man
Exactly.
tragically dies after taking Trump-touted
There was an angle to it already.
It's like, first off, by the way, Donald Trump didn't go out, and not only did he not say drink fish tank cleaner, I think people use it. That's way more of an extreme example. Donald Trump didn't go out and say try to get your hands on legitimate chloroquine illegally.
No.
Donald Trump didn't go out and specify a dosage. Donald Trump said if you're in a hospital and and you're not doing very well, before a ventilator, ask your doctor what can you lose at this point. That's a totally valid. To take that and then apply drinking fish tank cleaner. It was an absurd example. I thought that it wouldn't gain any traction. Unfortunately, it did, and it's blatantly false.
Yeah,
you know what? It also plays into the narrative that a lot of folks want to say. It's the same argument that Hillary had when she called a basket of deplorables. You know, she's saying, look, just take this entire group of people and look, here's another example of a Trump supporter not only trusting their fearless leader while he makes, quote unquote, gives bad advice, but also they are idiots, right?
Right.
When in reality, this woman was actually pretty. She had a good little 2-for-1 going there. She not only got rid of the husband she didn't want to have in the first place, and she got to stick it to.
Can we say that? I didn't want to. Can we say that? That's speculation, but we can.
Speculation.
Legally, I won't get in hot water. Okay, so legally, I won't get in hot water. This is speculation.
Hold on.
I think she killed her husband.
Yeah.
I can say.
You can say you think it. Sure. I mean,
she is the Carol. What is it? Carol Baskin.
Carol Baskin. I want to get Joe Tiger to look into it.
Yes.
Call him from prison and see if we can get him.
Have you heard about the fish tank cleaner lady? He's like, I know.
I think so. I would love an investigation.
Same woman.
Wouldn't be surprised if they're friends. And here's the thing. I don't know how that necessarily works as far as some kind of an investigation, separate from the news side of it.
Yeah.
Because this would be something that would someone have to report that to local authorities? It seems like it would be more of a national kind of investigation, considering that it involves donations, a long-standing history with this.
Well, I mean, the donations aren't a crime.
No, they're not a crime. But in
So
other words,
it's
it's something that involves national elections, where it's not like the evidence presented isn't just, well, she was horrible at the local supermarket. It's like, no, she tried to influence elections for a long time, and she hated her husband.
No, I mean, influencing elections is literally what everyone does,
right?
Whether they're trying to or not.
They don't typically off their husband to do it, though.
But the crime itself is the crime itself, right? It's the same reason why there's there's a significant argument against having hate crimes. It's because the crime itself is the crime,
right?
As opposed to necessarily the reasons behind it.
Can local authorities though access her? How would one report it? Would they have to report to the local police department?
You can report it to any of them, and then they'll sort it out amongst themselves as to who's the appropriate one to do it.
It's likely that they might be investigating it right now, and we're just not hearing about it.
Well, we're definitely not hearing about it as long as Erica has to be doing her job.
Well, yeah, that's true.
Right.
I just can't imagine. This is the reason when people don't trust the media. This is exactly why. Like, this isn't an example of me. We didn't call in aggressively going, "Yeah, you crazy. You need to." Just going like, "Hey, this is relevant. Would you like this?" Sounds to me like you have a story.
Yeah.
Sounds to me like you had a story. Someone came in and said, and here's the crazy thing. Think about this. Could there be anything more catnippy to reporters than a salacious story of a woman who potentially offed her husband? Yes. If Donald Trump offed her husband. And that is the story they decided to run with. The only thing more appealing than Joe Tiger and Carol Baskin or making a murderer is if said murderer can be implicated as President Trump.
I know, and it seems like unless the road leads back to Trump, it's not a story. But that's not true at all. Like, this would be a major story either way.
Yeah.
If a woman offed her husband by saying, "Here, drink this, it'll cure COVID-19." It's like, well, that's a story.
They ran it like it was Donald Trump as Kathy Bates in Misery.
Right. Yeah, exactly.
Drink your chloroquine, almost dead.
I do like how Steven says Joe Tiger, because every time you say it, I start thinking you're saying Joe Biden, but then you're saying Joe Tiger, and then I'm like, oh wait, Joe Exotic.
Joe
and I'm like,
Exotic. Yeah.
Oh, what I mean to say, Joe Exotic. Oh, that's right.
Well,
I keep saying Joe Tiger.
Everybody knows who you're talking about.
I like it. I like it.
By the way, gun to your head, you have to vote for Joe Biden as president or Joe Exotic.
Joe Exotic.
Exotic, yeah, for sure.
Hardcore. I'm enthusiastic.
Because as much as I don't like him, that man gets stuff done. he got two male concubines who aren't even gay. Because
That's
man,
impressive.
20 tigers is 20 tigers. What? What does that even mean? What does that even mean?
In the music videos that come out of it. Oh.
I'm not gay. But 20 tigers is 20 tigers. What does that even?
Hey, you know who we need to find? We need to find the guys who wrote the music. There's some really good articles about the guys who actually wrote and recorded the music.
Yeah,
itself.
he was lip syncing. He didn't actually.
Right.
One of the guys I think has died. We read that I think last night.
What?
Really?
One of the guys who wrote.
Tiger?
No, he was not. He was not related to tigers at all.
Yeah, it is remarkable to me because we've always had questions. I think as guys, right? You're like, okay, what would it take, like, for you to, have relations with a guy? That's kind of like 10 million, 20 million. We always ask these questions, right, to guys, and usually the answer is no.
No, I haven't.
I usually ask it to people, but none of us ever thought to ask that the barrier to entry would be 20 tigers.
Nobody thought that was on the table.
I'd do it all.
Yeah.
I'd have the yellow bandana out of my pocket. Just means power anything.
Right.
20 tigers. Are they Siberian? Bring in the train.
Snow leopards.
No.
Yeah.
Snow leopards.
I don't get it.
No, that's a move that takes place once it's begun.
I don't want to hear about that. Oh my gosh.
What do we have? Do we have on the line?
Yes, we do.
All right, we do have on the line right now none other than the great Mr. Ted Nugent. Mr. Ted Nugent, how are you, sir?
I'm doing so good at stupid in spite of the crazy world around us. How are you and your family out there, Stephen?
We're doing well, and I thought it was perfectly appropriate here, Mr. Nugent. You've been in this very studio a couple of times, but actually, I think it was before. It was at the garage.
Yeah.
You've been seeing.
Still permeating the brickware, and just can you still smell my essence of truth, logic, and common sense still permeating your studio?
Yeah, we do. It smells like a deer covering scent and tapioca pudding, because I know you like your snack packs, and so that's a little tidbit most people don't know about you.
That would be Tink's number 69.
Okay, there we go.
I brush my teeth with that in the morning.
Now, I don't want to reveal a location, but obviously you split your time between Texas and Michigan. You're proud Texan, proud Michigander. Where are you quarantining right now, if we can?
We're quarantined in our beloved home where there's freedom and a hint of constitutionality right here in Central Texas.
Yeah.
We don't just live in China Spring, and Shemaine hates when I mention that, but you can Google where we live, and if somebody wants to mess with us, I'll send you my itinerary. But we don't only live in China Spring, we own the spring that China Spring was named after. Hence, the most important element of having Uncle Ted on your show, Stephen, is that I'm cocked, locked, and ready to rock the Glock, Doc. I have always had unlimited water, unlimited fish in the water, unlimited firewood in case the power goes out. But in case the power goes out, I've always had a generator with fuel for at least 6 months. Call me weird, but I figured that out about 1967 after a Michigan ice storm. I'm like a Boy Scout. Eat me.
Well, hold on. I don't think you want to say I'm Boy Scout, especially now with the counselors who are allowed in there. That's the new slogan at the Boy Scouts, by the way, with the new counselors is just shh, don't tell. So let me ask you.
That's almost like saying I'm a Catholic, huh?
All right, and this is live, so we apologize. I never want to shut up.
Can't do anything about that. Yeah.
No, this is interesting that you bring it up, because I used to do this where I talked about, speaking of the ice storm, Montreal, many people died from the Montreal ice storm. I don't know if you remember that, but we actually had relatives who were.
In fact, the Amboy Dukes played during an absolute blizzard whiteout. Everything was shut down, but the Amboy Dukes, me driving the van, we actually made it to Quebec and Montreal for a concert, but we were right there through the blizzard just in time to go on stage, so everybody had already left because everybody was scared of the blizzard. Yeah. And I'm from Detroit. They're from Canada. They should have been better prepared.
You think they should have been better prepared, but no, they were not. It was terrible. And when we used to do this, I don't think they're sponsored anymore, but Prepare with Crowder. It's just kind of like, emergency food supplies. Yeah. And I always said when I would do these advertisements, listen, there doesn't have to be some crazy EMT attack. It doesn't have to be some crazy post-apocalyptic scenario. It could just be like earthquakes that you have in Los Angeles, which my brother had lived through. It could be like the ice storm, where all of a sudden the stores are picked clean. It pays to have a supply of water and some food that can last you 30 days. People said I was crazy. I guess with this, you're a little crazier, because 6 months you could live for 6 months completely off the grid.
Well, I got news for you. Without exaggerating, I could live forever off the grid.
Well, yeah, because you're a bow hunter, but I mean,
I mean, how many deer do you need? You know, we have so much wildlife on the property. Literally, when I graduated from high school in '67, I was already prepped. I was raised in a hunting family where we had to gather wood at the camp. You had to gather water. You had to start your fire. You had to kill a squirrel for dinner. I mean, you know, basic utilitarian pragmatism, self-sufficiency. Utilitarian pragmatism, self-sufficiency. Is that legal?
Not entirely sure.
Taking care of yourself, I was taught all about that. So by the time I graduated from high school, even though I was a crazy rock and roll, mushy brain, uneducated by the American anti-education system guy, I had the basics figured out. So my first purchase in life was a little farm in Michigan where I had unlimited water, unlimited fish, unlimited squirrels.
Wait, hold on a second. That was your first purchase? You never put like a quarter in the little rooster egg machine to get yourself one of those sticky hands? Your first purchase was farmland? I'm calling BS.
Absolutely.
You never bought a stick of Bazooka Joe?
That was my first personal purchase. I had to buy a van for the Amboy Dukes, and I had to buy amplifiers for the Amboy Dukes.
All right.
Was my musical dream, obviously, which I achieved. I'm going to say by the time I was 12 or 13 in Detroit, literally won the Battle of the Bands in 1963, opened up with the Supremes and the Beau Brummels right next to the mighty Funk Brothers of Motown. So my American dream was on fire really early on. But again, it goes back to my hunting, fishing, trapping, conservation lifestyle.
Right.
I've just never been unprepared. I've never been unarmed. I've never not had a pocket knife. I've never not had a handkerchief. I've never not had a fire extinguisher. I've never not had a spare tire. Just the basic
Wait
things
a second.
in life.
Handkerchief? What is this? Toss that in there. Handkerchief.
That's what
Everything else,
have.
it's the only non-explosive item, but I imagine it's the one that's
EDC
probably
right
most
there.
deadly.
It's true.
You gotta have a handkerchief. I mean, even today, come on, are you kidding me?
Yeah, and I shouldn't be surprised at the color. By the way, as far as the camo, Ted, we can still see you. The bookcase, it doesn't necessarily blend. Let me ask you this, because we don't have a ton of time this morning. We've gone over time. What would you recommend to people out there who aren't sort of conservationists like yourself, who don't live this lifestyle? What do you, if they were to start just being prepared for disasters like this, what are the basic fundamentals that everyone should have?
Well, a handkerchief for starters.
Okay.
All right. Yeah. I'm right there with you.
Saved lives. I've literally stopped bleeding and saved lives with my neckerchief.
Okay.
But anyhow, you know, isn't it a shame that you have to reference the author of Wango Tango for survival skills? But there are some basics. And first of all, prayer. We're praying for those people who are maybe not on the edge of self-sufficiency and not living the original last Boy Scout preparedness. I think that's what a responsible human being should be. But we haven't bought any toilet paper. I mean, again, I'm going back to ice storms in my youth and blizzards and floods and droughts and hurricanes and tornadoes. I mean, who hasn't lived through those?
Yeah.
So we always have a few hundred rolls of toilet paper. I swear to God, we have a reasonable pantry. We have long-lasting canned goods of quality, but we have unlimited fish, fowl, venison, because we live on land that provides life itself.
Yeah.
But you have to have food, water, toilet paper. You have to have guns, ammo. You have to be adequately trained. You have to have fire extinguishers. You have to have adequate fuel. I've always been trained that you fill your gas tank up in your truck or your car at the end of a trip into town, even if the gas gauge has only gone down a little bit. The Nugent
Well, that's
family,
because you're from Detroit and they invented carjacking. There's a drive-in movie theater still in downtown Detroit. It's the stuff that gives children nightmares. You drive past it in the downtown. You know what I'm talking about? Downtown Detroit. It's right next to an overpass, like a drive-in movie. You're going, I'm gonna start watching, Big Trouble 2, and my car is gonna be nothing but cinder blocks and a steering wheel before we get to the double feature. All right.
It's a drive-by theater.
Oh, yes, exactly. It's a drive-by theater. Don't wear red, don't wear blue, just stay neutral. Mr. Nugent, we do have to get going. We have our Jocko correspondent on here. Where's the best place for people to find you, brother?
Well, go to jerrygarcia.com for all the things Ted Nugent. We have a tednugent.com website. And I don't know if you're a PG-13, but I'm selling the hell out of those things. And we also have new Java. We have real ultimate high-octane Joe. So Shemaine and I are here, but we're quarantining between tours.
Way to
anyhow,
advertise
so-
a competitor there, Ted Nugent. But I will say this: it is remarkable that Jerry Garcia, so annoying, but unfortunately, unilaterally agreed upon. There's the pun with Cherry Garcia is the best ice cream available. It's absolute hippies,
It
and
is, I agree.
it's so delicious. And I make little root beer floats with it, and I'm
buy it.
It's
I support those hippies. I love the hippie ice cream.
right. Okay. Thank you, Mr. Nugent. We appreciate it, brother. We must go. Before we thank you. God bless you, and God bless America. You can hang up there because we don't know what he's going to say. I can't believe that you yawned. I can't believe that Half Nation Bill yawned when Ted Nugent was on. He went like this. I'm sorry, it's not Yo-Yo Ma with the cello.
Hey, Yo-Yo Ma moves me, man. What am I saying? Where's the Cherry Garcia? Now I'm hungry.
Yo-Yo Ma
We're
moves
talking about food.
Let's be honest.
Where's the
I don't.
breakfast?
That man is an absolute treasure. Okay, we're going to go to some of your chat. We are going to have our Jocko Willink, because Jocko Willink is actually, a lot of people have been wondering how he's doing. We actually have Smooth Manny, our Jocko Willink correspondent, who will be here after the break, and we'll also be talking about voter suppression and Louis C.K. So short break. We'll be right back after this.
Hey guys, what's up?
We got an idea. A bright idea.
Lay it on me.
Yeah. Well, it's a commercial for Black Rifle Coffee Company. Yeah. We're going to show everybody how good the coffee is by beating your black ass. Yeah, coffee's so good, you're going to forget we just beat your ass.
I don't know.
Come on, soak up the brains of the idea we got going. Hey, come on, man, you going to be the hero. I'm going to hold your arms back while Keith punches you in the stomach. No, I'm going to punch him in the face. I told you.
No, I don't think any of this is necessary. It's not going to fit the brand.
Work. Trust me.
Well, we can run it by Steven, but I don't think he's going to be into it.
Okay. Yeah, sure.
Trust me.
There he is right there. Let's go ask him. Yeah, go ask him.
Black Rifle Coffee! Yeah!
Hey guys, Whistleblower 22 here. Sorry about the gap between videos. I got kicked out again. But I promise this new scoop will be the biggest of my career. To be honest, once I expose this, I fear for my life. It's time for the truth. Pete Buttigieg is not gay. The story never added up. Not coming out until his 30s, recoiling from any physical intimacy with his alleged husband. The deep state has gone to great lengths to cover up and rewrite Mayor Pete's history, because not only is he not gay, Pete Buttigieg is a plant. He's been handpicked by Vice President Mike Pence to run for president, and then, once installed in the White House, he'll sign an executive order to create Pence's gay conversion camps. It's been Pence's plan all along, and when President Trump didn't agree, Pence went with Plan B. Plan Buttigieg. Thanks for watching, Anons. I'm gonna shout out everyone who contributed to my GoFundMe, starting with Mr. Patrick S. So yeah, guys, thanks for the support. Whistleblower out.
And we are back.
Wow,
Good morning, MugClub. Which, by the way, one of the funniest hours available right now online. You listen to the Artie Lang Halfway House with Gilbert Godfrey. Oh my God.
It was a treat.
If you guys are just looking for a laugh, I hope we get Artie Lang back on this show. I don't think I'm letting the cat out of the bag. Last time he was on the show, he was doing drugs literally right before the show.
Almost on the show.
Almost on the show. And he's very open about it now. He's finally sober, Artie Lang.
Good.
Yeah.
He was on the show, and because we could literally hear him, we suspected, I should say, doing drugs, and he made some comments where he seemed kind of out of it.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
There are only 2 interviews that we've ever actually edited.
Yeah.
People say, oh, no, sometimes we have to pre-tape it because of timing. One, I won't give the name because it's a very nice person, but was incredibly boring, and we couldn't actually get them to stop speaking.
That's right, yeah.
So it was inconsequential. One was Artie Lang, because we felt that he wasn't in his right mind, and we didn't want to be a liability for him. Yeah. So I would really love to have him back on, because it was so fun. Yeah. He's such a sweet guy.
Yeah.
But his hour with Gilbert Godfrey right now is so funny. They were talking about I'll just repeat this for you a little bit. They were talking about how Robin Williams says, I hear, Gilbert, that there's a theory going on that Robin Williams actually killed himself because of how good your life is, and if I would love to go back and I would love to go back to 1991, people watching Aladdin saying, one of these guys is actually going to have an incredibly successful career, and one of them is going to hang himself with a lady's piece of clothing making a nanoose, and it's not the parrot! They're talking. Robin Williams is up there with God saying, oh boy, you really are cruel. This whole hour is just. I noticed Gilbert Gottfried just says offensive things and laughs. That's all. It's not even a joke. I don't know that you can teach it. It was just, oh my God.
Where is this? Where is this? It's just
Artie's Halfway House. It's Artie Lang's new show. And with him and there's something, certain people, you get them in a room with him and Gilbert Gottfried, the chemistry is just electric. So awesome. Before we go to our correspondent, I want to talk about Louis C.K. after that, before we talk about voter suppression. But right now, of course, many of you are interested in a good friend of the show. He's on quite a bit, and he's disappeared a little bit, so we want to make sure that he's okay. So there's no man more up to date on the goings-on of Jocko Willink. It's time for our Jocko correspondent. In here, Smooth Manny. Come on in here. Let's come on in, Jocko correspondent. Thank you very much. And I know Audio Wade, you had some questions. Smooth Manny, you are, of course, you're from Colombia.
Yikes.
Correct.
And you know more about Jocko than I think anybody ever.
Perhaps.
Would you?
Except Jocko.
Yeah. Except Jocko. Yeah, of course. Well, yeah. I appreciate you giving credit where it's due. We wouldn't want to run the risk of ever not giving Jocko credit where he can. Can you fill us in? So first off, you have all these things. Right?
Correct.
So, and to be clear, Origin Maine, that's the face mask. Can you bring that up really quickly? That's Jocko's company, and thank you guys. They did send some out to us where there's a little pocket in there, too, where you can put a surgical mask or some other kind of a filter, and they've repurposed all of their factory to do that. And then all of this, though, when they sent that, they sent us some samples, like of the protein powders, and you said you've had all. You were like, I've had all of it. That one's good. That one's good. That one's better. That tea's better. So what is going on with Jocko these last couple of weeks?
You know, I think the question, Stephen, is what isn't going on with Jocko? You've got your nutrition, your goods. If you want to read, you've got children's books. Yeah. You have durable goods.
Ghee.
That's true. We've
got the mask.
Basically re-innovated the mask, and I hear the CDC actually thinks that these might even be better than a vaccine.
That's not correct at all.
For
that's totally factual.
COVID-19.
Pretty sure that's wrong.
That's wrong. Yeah, I want to be really clear about that. And what have you been doing to keep up with Jocko during all of this?
Actually, I think we can go to his Twitter.
Yeah.
We can check that he has indeed been waking up at 4:34.
Of course,
Really? Okay.
In the morning. That's correct.
Okay.
He's getting after it
before the enemy.
Correct.
Takes an Instagram photo, then goes back to sleep until noon.
I think so.
From what I understand.
Same photo he uses every day.
He doesn't find this funny at all.
Very serious.
Zero funnies.
This is loaded.
Okay, all right.
And pointed at me.
Pointed at him. What would Jocko say about having a loaded firearm aimed at the CNN monitor? No one will have a problem.
We're good with that.
Good trigger discipline.
Okay.
And either way, this is my everyday carry.
And where did you learn your good trigger discipline?
Obviously, Jocko podcast.
Right, that makes sense. Yeah, that makes a lot of sense. Did you have some questions for him there, Audio Wade?
Yeah, I mean, I did hear that Jocko has fallen off with the 433 thing, but let's see. So we do have the most current aftermath of his workout. So never mind. So
no, okay.
There is clear evidence
doing it.
of body workouts.
Okay, and what do you think is helping Jocko right now most getting through the coronavirus pandemic? Because we cope differently. How do you think Jocko is handling it?
Well, besides creating this mask that pretty sure the Surgeon General of America has said that it is more potent than the vaccine for
masks
corona.
Aren't potent, but he is Colombian. It's not his native tongue.
There's not a vaccine yet, right?
Are you putting venom in your mask? You know, it's not like Bane in real life. Like if you put potent venom in your mask, you will die.
It's very bad. Yeah.
So what else is it? Do you think Jocko? What do you think is his biggest quality? Okay, what is this?
I'm sorry, I couldn't hear your question because my Jocko Go has been opened, and this might also be a cure for corona.
None of that is accurate. None of this is terrible. You know what? I almost feel like we wanted to know what was going on with Jocko, and I feel like there's a deal under the table.
There might be
with Jocko and Manny. So I'll tell you what, we're going to have you back next week, or maybe not, maybe the week after, and we'll check in and bring us something more substantial next time than just hawking Jocko's goods. How is that drink, by the way?
It's delicious. You could try it.
Well, I don't want to try it because you've been wearing your poison mask.
Yeah. Also, you know what I think? I'm pretty sure that all of this is publicly available information. I don't know if there's any kind of inside.
Yes.
scoop.
That's
but
right. Do you have
so-
any inside information? Anything that maybe people don't already know?
These are just my 2 cents, but
Oh.
you're correct. This is all public knowledge.
Okay.
Hey, I think if he's going to come back on the show, he needs to take a photo of himself at 4:33 every morning as well.
Yes.
Because otherwise he's not really a true correspondent. So we need a face.
Yeah.
In black and white.
Yep.
Black and white.
and white.
I'm already way ahead of you.
Newspaper,
Check my Instagram.
Okay.
Oh,
Yes.
oh.
All right.
Perfect.
Thank you very much, Smooth Manny. Enjoy your drink because I don't want to get corona. That has been our wildly unproductive installment of Jocko Correspondent. Okay, so I wanted to ask you guys really quickly. Were we able to pull that video from that awful female comedian before she removed it on Twitter regarding Louis C.K.?
I hope not.
Gerald's not awful.
Were we able to pull
why
that
are we
clip?
looking at me?
I don't know if we have it right now, but we can do our best.
Well,
to
because
pull
she
it out.
blocked me and deleted it. So
That's great.
Oh,
this
no.
was trending. You see, this was,
Of course.
Louis
Yeah.
C.K. was trending yesterday because he released another special. And of course, all these people come out from the woodwork to say, I can't believe that he would release a special. And there's this one female comedian who keeps complaining about Louis C.K., saying anyone who actually pays for a Louis C.K. special, stop talking with me, because effectively implying that people are rapists. And she uploaded this awful, awful sketch. Let me know if and when, just give me a hands up, of a parody of the Louis intro. And it was just saying, jerking off. That was the only lyric change.
Oh, geez.
And it was so bad. It was so poorly edited. I'm like, listen, even if let's assume that you believe Louis C.K. is a rapist on par with Roman Polanski, who got multiple Oscar nominations and Oscar awards after raping a 14-year-old on Quaaludes. At least Louis C.K. asked. It's weird. It's a weird request.
It is.
But he did make the request.
Also not kids.
Right, and also not kids. Let's be really clear.
Correct,
But let's assume that you believe he's that terrible. Don't you understand that creating something so painfully unfunny just drives people into the arms of Louis C.K.?
Yeah, you're hurting your own
You're
cause
creating
here.
more Louis C.K. fans.
Hey, she's a deep state Louis C.K. fan.
She's a deep state
That's
Louis
it.
C.K.
I
fan.
busted it way open.
Didn't see
That is
coming.
disgusting.
I know. It's terrible.
We actually do have the video.
Okay, so hold on a second. What's the name of this lady? So she blocked me, she deleted
On Twitter?
me.
Yeah.
Yes, and this was when all of these complaints about Louis C.K. saying he's horrible, he's a rapist, he's only made advancements in his career because of white men. Let's assume that all of that is true. Okay, let's see, what's her name?
Kelsey Kane.
Kelsey Kane, what do you got?
Well,
The hell?
Well, the only reason I have to run all of this is because it doesn't go anywhere. You need to see that this continues.
wait, is that not Louis C.K.?
So everything is the credit involves penis, which I can appreciate. Look at this too. She breaks character, and they keep it going. Everything about and not that it can't be low budget and satisfactory. This is low budget and distinctly unsatisfactory. Look at this. Look at this. She's trying to go. So yeah, at the end of the clip, she tries to go into the comedy cellar because that's where Louis often goes, and they don't let her in. Look, they don't even cut it early enough. This is so painfully bad and unfunny that here's the thing. Funny doesn't lie. And that's kind of the difference between, let's even say, take Roman Polanski or Harvey Weinstein, people who are actual sex offenders, right?
Yeah.
There are a lot of people involved with those productions. There are a lot of people involved with the creating of a film where they can't really take credit or necessarily take blame if, for example, like Lions for Lambs is that bad. But funny doesn't lie. And Louis C.K., I guess the question becomes, when has someone paid their penance if they were, granted, did some scummy stuff? And I understand that it's not just that he was servicing himself in a green room. I understand that he asked people, but maybe there was people felt pressured, and obviously there could be sort of a disproportionate abuse of power there or authority.
Yeah.
But again, it's like the guy did apologize. The guy went away, and he's not saying that I should be out there as a role model. It's just, is he still funny? And the answer, in my opinion, is undoubtedly yes. So what do you think? At what point do you?
It's tough to say, but don't we do this all the time anyway? We separate the art from the artist with people that maybe we just have a mild disagreement with them, or they're batshit crazy like Tom Cruise and Scientology, and we're like, people still go watch his movies. I'm not saying they're good or bad. I'm just saying people still do it. And in a case like this, like that, they are bad. But in a case
particularly
like this,
Mission Impossible 4, where Tom Cruise and Henry Cavill were both fighting this Asian guy, wasn't he the Asian guy, making zero progress until the woman comes in and just like. And it's like, oh, what? I thought that 6'2", of Cavill on Decadron might have, but no, all of a sudden, 120 pounds soaking wet and stilettos move the needle a little bit.
Well, especially when he reloaded his fists and did that, I thought it was over.
Tom Cruise was wearing stilettos? I did not recall.
That was in his trailer.
I got to rewatch it.
That was in his trailer.
I will rewatch it.
Mr. Cruz, they need you on set. Can you please take off the stilettos and put the 9-inch lifts on? Listen, you're not supposed to say that out loud.
Wait, so Gerald, so you're saying separate the art from the artist, so you're a Roman Polanski fan, huh?
No, I'm not. So look, I think it gets difficult very much so when you have stuff like this happen, right? This is different, and I think some people will have an opinion and say, look, I'll just never watch that guy again. I'll never think he's
that line's different for
whatever.
everybody.
Yeah, but I still think so. Here's a comparison.
Okay,
I hate what Bill Cosby did. But I go back and I look at his Bill Cosby as himself stand-up. Like, that was hilarious. It doesn't change the fact that what he said at the time was funny.
I don't really think he was ever that funny.
Yeah, well, Bill Cosby was talking about chocolate cake for breakfast, but Louis C.K.'s stand-up is about being a horrible person.
Yeah, it's about being depraved.
It was anybody who had seen anything he had done actually surprised? I don't think so.
No, I really don't think so. Yeah, whereas, Bill Cosby was out there talking about, when I said there was chocolate cake for breakfast and eggs and milk, and I was there to go brown chocolate cake. Give us a chocolate cake, and then he was raping 419 people.
Yeah, that's pretty.
There's a difference between that and
I don't think those numbers are accurate.
I think it's about the equivalent to the entire Lakers roster
throughout history.
What is it? It's like 30-something women, right? 30-something women have come forward.
30-something that came forward. Yeah, for sure.
There are no women on the Lakers roster.
That just shows how out of touch you are with the WNBA.
They're not called the Lakers.
What is okay?
Sorry.
No, hold on a second. Pause.
Yeah,
this is a genuine, and then I want you to go. Genuine question. What is the name? When people say, I love women's sports, and some people in this room have done it, but not so much. What's the name of the Los Angeles WNBA team? Go. Can anyone give it to me?
Mystics? Mystics?
Not even close. Mystics? No, that was a film with Julia Roberts in a pizza parlor.
There's a team that's called the Mystics.
Hold on. It's... I don't know. I don't know. The Dragons.
Please. There's no way it's
with
Dragons.
You, everything's the Dragons.
Yeah. The Lions. Oh, what other zodiac symbol can I say right now? Dang it.
Well, we do know that the WNBA is most comparable to cancer. So,
research has found that it is the Sparks.
Hey, Mystics. Not even Mystics a flame. Was not. I mean, that was pretty awful. That was not close at all.
Yeah. Mystics are characters from Dark Crystal.
No, the Mystics are a team in the WNBA. They're just not from LA.
I guarantee. You know what? No, not only I don't really love Dark Crystal that much, but I guarantee you that if you just had movies in the park, they do that sometimes.
Yeah.
If you had movies in the park, and in the park you had the WNBA National Championship and the making of documentary of Dark Crystal, everyone would turn their chairs away from the WNBA and go, wow, they built a whole village. Without Jim Henson, they're still getting it done.
So much creativity.
Puppets are cool.
Yeah.
Yes.
This is an experiment that needs to happen.
Right. Though someone may every now and then accidentally turn to the NBA, the WNBA, because they assume that the hairdo is a puppet. It's like, no, that's just...
Well, they thought somebody dunked,
weave.
and that didn't happen.
That is a weave, which will undoubtedly be torn off at the rebound. Just think, Don, I almost got fired.
Yeah, exactly.
By the way, hit the notification bell, please, if you're watching on the YouTube, because subscriptions don't mean a whole lot. And please do consider joining up MugClub. We're doing this extra content free all month because of MugClub Quarantine. Enter in the promo code Quarantine. You get $30 off. And please, if you are a member of MugClub, do consider renewing because we need you still around since we're not necessarily monetized. To wrap up the Louis C.K. thing, I don't like what he did.
No.
But I think the guy's funny, and I don't think it's such an it's not the kind of sin that is so unforgivable that the guy can't go out and tell jokes if people want to pay him for it.
Yeah.
Right, yeah.
And I mean, at what point do we allow somebody to be truly repentant? Like, are you done? I mean, where's the line? Like, are you done for the rest of your life? Like, can you ever say, you know what, I was a horrible person then, I'm not that person anymore? Is there any repentance? Is there any second chance that we give anybody?
Right.
Or do we just, put somebody in a corner and say, well, because of what you did, now I don't know where that line is for everybody, but because of what you did, we're never allowing you to be in society again.
No. It only applies to him because he's a white male.
Pretty much.
Actually, he's Mexican.
Yeah.
He's Latino. He's Latino. He's more Mexican than Carlos Mencia. That's not a joke.
I did not know that.
You didn't know that?
I didn't know that. No.
Louis C.K.? Yeah, he's Mexican.
Then Carlos Mencia?
Yeah. Carlos Mencia is half
he's not
Honduran.
even
He's not
Mexican.
any Mexican at all.
Yeah.
But
Louis C.K. was born
Hispanic. Honduran is Hispanic.
But I'm saying
he's
he
not
goes out and
Mexican.
claimed he was
Same
Mexican. Or like, that's a
family.
beaner joke. Mexicans. And he wasn't Mexican at all. Louis C.K. was.
Wait, he's not Mexican at all?
No,
Not at all.
Carlos
Zero.
Mencia is not Mexican at all. He's half Honduran.
Which even
is
What is the other
Mexican.
half?
he's like Polish or something. His real name is Ned.
Ned?
Well, the Ned doesn't
Flanders?
matter, but what's the...
It matters, Bill.
Then his name is Ned. My name is Bill.
Yeah,
I'm still Asian.
If you went out and sold yourself as half Asian lawyer, that might be relevant. You're very forthcoming about the fact that you're Bill.
Hey, you mean if I went by Beto and my name was Robert?
Yes!
Exactly.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Thank
So
you.
Okay, thanks, guys. I appreciate it. I understand. I will now go buy some Asian name. I'll figure it out by next month. I do have a Chinese name.
Make it
That's
short.
right.
He's
Make it short.
exactly as Mexican as Patrice O'Neill. Yeah. Precisely.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Someone bring it up. I think Louis C.K. was actually raised in Mexico, if I'm not mistaken. I think he was. I don't know if he was born in
An
Mexico City. I
accidental
think he
white
was actually
person.
raised in Mexico City, if I'm not mistaken. Yeah. A lot of people don't know that about Louis C.K.
I didn't know that at all.
I mean, he doesn't really advertise it, but
Right, yeah.
the
Looks
point
white.
is,
Almost hides it.
and the real thing is, I was just being persnickety, and I wanted to correct my lawyer for no reason because it's not really relevant. The perception is he's
It
a
was
white
fun.
male. That being said, for me, there's no line. For me, there's no line as far as is it still funny.
Well, I
That doesn't
understand
now that there is a line in
Yeah.
the sense that someone doesn't get to work in the industry anymore. For example, Roman
I agree.
Polanski,
Yeah.
you rape a 14-year-old with Quaaludes. I don't think
Yeah.
you should be allowed to work anywhere
It's
around
with
children.
or without the Quaaludes.
Right.
Well,
the
yes.
Quaaludes,
Yeah.
In the industry. I
Some-
don't
not
want
just
to
the qualifier.
unfairly qualify that.
One could almost
It's
just
a
argue that
garnish
the
of the story.
Quaaludes were really the only saving grace of the event. Like, no, Quaaludes. What else you got going on? Oh, no. That's the argument that could be made.
Terrible.
Quaaludes were not the worst part of that equation.
No, they were not.
Though some would argue necessary. So I do think that he shouldn't be allowed anywhere children.
Right.
And probably don't send any women into the green room with Louis C.K. unless they like watching redhead Mexicans service themselves. Like, my point is,
yeah.
like, he's not a danger to anyone. He didn't commit a crime. And it's not like the Harvey Weinstein situation. So
Right.
I
Yeah,
don't
it's a
think we
little
can
different.
lump, even as much as I can't stand Aziz Ansari, I really think this guy is the epitome of woke and dishonest and a little bit arrogant. He had a really bad date.
Yeah.
We can't lump that in with Harvey Weinstein and Bill Cosby. And it's just
Yeah.
amazing to me that I do notice with the comedians particularly, you would think that if someone is a real germ, right, and they talk about the sort of hierarchy of powers that be, well, other people in positions of power who don't need Louis C.K. would be the ones who would speak out and say, he's a real germ, this guy needs to go away. But you don't see that from the Bill Burrs of the world. You don't
Yeah.
see that from the Jim Nortons. You don't see that from comedians who stand nothing to gain by being subservient to Louis C.K. In other words, they could come
Yeah.
out and say that, and guess what? They could actually eliminate competition.
Yeah.
But all I'm saying, you know what? No, the guy is still funny. The people who come out and say Louis C.K. isn't funny at all, therefore you should all boycott him, are women like this, are people who are definitively unfunny. And they argue, well, it's just because of the powers that be. No, the powers that be think the guy is funny, and they have no reason to.
Yeah.
It would be like assuming that Jerry Bruckheimer is, if anyone had dirt on Harvey Weinstein, you'd have someone like a Bruckheimer, someone who's his direct competitor. It would be the easiest thing in the world.
Yeah, I mean, I think about it this way with sports. Like, we're selectively outraged, and you have athletes that go out and do things that we disagree with, but they go out and still they are able to perform athletically. And so we allow them. We're like, oh, we'll go watch the basketball team that has 3 felons on it right now because they can score. Right. So they're selectively kind of picking their spots on where they're going to be outraged and against who.
I don't know anything about basketball. I just
You shouldn't.
I
You
assume that
shouldn't.
there's a lot of felonies.
Why is that, Stephen?
Yeah,
John
why is that?
Stockton. John Stockton, Larry Bird.
Who are the
Dirk Nowitzki?
Name one more white guy. Go ahead, dare you.
I assume that's in almost all organized sports.
No, in a lot of sports you
especially
do
in
have,
combat sports and physical sports,
Yeah,
because this
yeah,
is the way
yeah,
out for a lot of
exactly.
people from rough areas
Exactly,
of town.
yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Like
Right.
if you're raised in the lap of luxury, you often you go play tennis.
or golf.
Right.
Golf.
But if you-
Look, there's felons on basketball teams and football teams
Football
and
teams,
in wineries and
Not in
wine
wineries.
cellars.
Wait, no.
you
True.
know,
Oh, you
wine
don't-
distributors.
Yeah.
Whoever came from the
think
wrong side of the
Polanski made
tracks.
you don't think Polanski made a couple of visits to Coppola's vineyard?
Oh
Come
my
on,
God.
don't be.
He probably did. I'll
don't
give you
be
that.
Naive.
I'll give you that.
I just thought Gerald was going to laugh, but then he got really defensive.
Yeah.
Now I feel
No,
bad.
that would never happen.
No.
I think I doth protest too much.
Mr. Sterling is a saint.
You know Gerald is defensive when he busts out the English quotes and the English accent.
That wasn't. I didn't do the English accent there. I just.
What about Yellowtail or Barefoot? You think they have a few felons working at those vineyards?
I hope so, because I don't want them around anymore.
There you go. There you go.
like an undercover operation to take them out.
Barefoot and Yellowtail. It's the 3-strike policy. 3 strikes of crappy wine. Okay.
Yes, indeed.
Here's another Democratic talking point right now. I don't know if you guys have been following this, where that Donald Trump and the GOP, that they are challenging efforts to make voting easier, right? They want more absentee voting. And so this is a narrative that people are hearing out there. There was a quote from Donald Trump saying, you look at what they want, it's ridiculous. I don't think any Republican would ever be elected again. They're saying, see, with increased voter turnout, Republicans want to suppress votes because they can never win with increased voter turnout. Why do you think, let me ask you this, trick question, why do you think it is that Republicans might have an issue with simply opening up absentee voting, basically on a federal level, superseding states right now? Why do you think they might have an issue with it? Do you think it's just because they don't want people, legal American citizens, voting from home?
Yeah, they don't. Yeah, that's totally it.
Yeah,
it's got to be it. Yeah.
I was shocked, by the way, because you obviously know they're against voter ID laws, and they say that's racist. I was shocked, as someone who has had to vote absentee once before, that many states do not require that you submit any form of identification at all for receiving your absentee ballot or when you submit the actual voting ballot. At no point is ID required in many states. What? I was going through, going through Alabama, Arkansas, Alaska. That's just the A's.
Wow. He got bored after
Didn't
that.
even get to the B's.
Yeah, and what is it? We have, by the way, the more that Democrats, obviously, they can get illegals and felons to vote, the more they can obviously sort of sell out the American taxpayers. I think in Colorado, what is it, 73% of people vote in person?
This was a note that I put in there because the whole argument is that
makes
they want...
no sense.
Yeah,
I was like, what did I write
gibberish,
this morning?
yeah.
I don't remember writing this. It makes no sense.
So
Gerald
I
wrote
did
it.
My bad. I should put my initials in front of it and change the color. I did.
Yeah, you did.
So basically what
Still
they're saying
makes no
is
sense.
that...
It says Colo. It says
does.
Colo 73, Oreg 59, Wasta 65 in person.
So here's the deal.
It's the kind of scribblings you'd see on a serial killer's wall with strings of yarn.
And only I know what it means.
No sense.
Yeah. So
and a picture of Phoebe Cates from Fast Times at Ridgemont High.
Who does that? Nobody wants that.
Phoebe Cates.
She was something else.
Stop it. So what they're saying is that in November, they don't want people to have to actually go out and vote because it's much safer to just mail it in. And so their whole argument is, we have to switch to this mail-in.
Sure.
We already do it with absentee voting. Why not? Well, in Colorado, 73% of the people that got a mail-in ballot returned it by hand and dropped it off. The same as if they had gone to a voting location, 59% in Oregon and 65% in Washington State. From the studies that they were using to cite to say that we should just go to this because everybody's doing it anyway. It wouldn't solve the problem.
Well, I would assume that they would resubmit it anyway. Regardless, at this point, they would probably send it back by mail. But that being said, the point that you just made is completely nonsensical. There's no way to decipher that from this point.
No, I knew
Those
the
were
information.
Colo 73, Oreg 59.
The notes were for him.
They were not for you. They were for me.
So it's kind of
That's why there's the GM right before
It's kind of
them.
like if you're dyslexic and you have to write them in reverse with jumbled letters. Right. If you're a serial killer, you write notes like this.
You told me to have brevity with my notes.
I know, but it doesn't make any sense. Not in the way that I couldn't possibly decipher.
It wasn't for you. It's for me.
What is this, the Dark Knight comics? Were you expecting Commissioner Gordon to come in?
Once in a while.
I like more of this. I like more surprised notes that Steven doesn't understand.
I don't understand them at all because I had these points that were written down that were pretty clear regarding states. Here's the thing to me. I would have no problem with absentee voting if it required some proof of identification at some point. Yeah. Ideally, both points. Ideally, for you to receive your ballot, you have to provide identification, and when you submit your ballot, you have to provide identification. The left, they want identification to purchase a firearm, to buy a Big Gulp, to buy an SUV, to make sure that they know who has the most carbon credits in need of purchase. Yeah. Not when somebody is electing the leader of the free world. Yeah. This is something that they try to oversimplify in a way that makes very little sense. And here's one thing I will say too. Sometimes, of course, from the left, things are so extreme where you go, there's no way that's true. Often it is. For example, a lady drinking fish tank cleaner because Donald Trump told her to and her husband died. You go, there's no way that's true. Yeah, right. Well, here's the thing. I want you to backtrack. Just like Legend of Zelda, Ocarina of Time. You're like, what happened with the bee's nest? I have to hit it with the stick, and I don't have the stick. I got to go back and talk to the villagers. This is a waste of time. I hate backtracking, but you have to do it with news. You bet. Don't get me started on Majora's Mask. Oh, my God. That was just ridiculous. That's nothing but the little clock tower. Like, shut up. Stop it. Stop it with the backtracking. I want a game to play, not chores. But you have to backtrack. Sometimes it sounds so absurd that you're like, there's no way that can be true. And often, I would say more often than not, on the left today, it is true. But you should also backtrack when you see the Young Turks or you see John King. You see, he looks like a Pixar character who didn't make it. You see one of these stories of someone saying, you know what, Donald Trump just doesn't, he said that no Republicans will ever win if more people can vote. You go, hold on a second, that sounds a little absurd. Why would Donald Trump be against absentee voting? Are we supposed to believe? Again, use your logic process here. Use it just a little bit. Are we supposed to believe that all of a sudden in the Midwest, in Texas, in Idaho, people who are voting from home because they have coronavirus are going to swap to Biden? That doesn't make sense. No, the reason that he has a problem with it, when you search it requires a little bit of digging, is that this is ultimately a Trojan horse to try and create new laws where you require no identification to vote. You require no identification to use an emergency room. Sometimes they don't even verify identification for social services. And now no ID to vote, and you wonder why the American taxpayer thinks that you are selling them down the river for people who have no business being here, who are not here legally. It's because of this. This shouldn't be a partisan issue.
No, it should
prove
be
you're a citizen so you can vote.
And there a lot of the states that they would win have large undocumented populations, like Texas and Arizona and places like that are closer to the southern border.
All you have to do is Texas changes.
You just got to flip it. You got to flip one of those states. If you flip Texas, it becomes almost impossible for a Republican to win consistently. Right? They've got to take a lot of other ground that's very hard to take if you flip Texas like that.
Yeah, and it's just lazy. When you think it's a lazy way to try and get this mass voter block of illegal aliens. Is just let's allow absentee ballot, and then when Donald Trump says he's against it, we'll say that he just doesn't want more people to vote. Like I don't just like string some taquitos or something along into the voting booth. Do something that takes a little bit more effort, and then maybe I don't know, just use a glue stick and put on a fake ID. You know what I mean? We'd at least respect it and go oh, okay, all right, maybe you deserve to destroy our country from within at this point.
You tried.
They paid the taquitos.
They've earned it.
Which, by the way, taquitos, are you supposed to take it out of the corn husk?
No.
You mean a tamale?
A tamale. That's it. Are you supposed to take it out of that thing?
Yeah.
Okay. Don't eat it with.
That's why I hate tamales.
You just unwrap it. It's like a little blanket for the
Steven,
food.
it's like gum, man. You can't eat it with the wrapper.
But it comes with a paper wrapper over the corn husk wrapper.
Yeah, it's just multiple wrappers.
So that doesn't make any sense.
Just double wrapped.
Name me one other food that is double wrapped like that. One other Mexican enchiladas are not double wrapped. Burritos are not double wrapped. Actually, burritos are double wrapped. Crap! I just realized I'm an idiot on air. What? Name me something else that is double wrapped with an edible form of wrapping paper.
Oh, come on!
I love it. He just keeps changing the stage. He's like, no, I'm not
Add
stupid.
another layer of complexity.
It's like Play-Doh when you're a kid. When they sell you the Play-Doh fun fact, like, look at this. Oh, it looks like a strawberry. Yeah, smell it. Smells like a strawberry. Yeah, but don't eat it. What do you expect to do? You just offered me a scrumptious strawberry. Both visual sensory overload, sensory overload. How am I supposed to know how this is going to end up with taste?
That's true.
Until you taste it.
Makes sense.
Until you taste
taste it.
And that's why I think we need to make Play-Doh more toxic. We do have to get going here pretty soon. What was the other thing? This is. Do we have chat that we can go to at all?
Yes, we do. Actually, yeah. So let's see. Jaden here says, "Thanks for the month of jacked up month of shows. What do you guys think we can expect from a Biden-Trump debate? Good, bad, funny?
Funny.
I think it's always going to be funny.
Guys,
as long as Trump is there, it's going to be funny.
I'm so
gonna be
excited.
so
There is
funny.
no Netflix special, though. They are coming out with another Joe Exotic episode, apparently.
One more episode.
Other than that, there's nothing I'm more excited for than Trump-Biden
It's going to be
debate.
so
I think we might see a fistfight. And let me explain to you why. No, let me give you this. I'm only half joking, but because Donald Trump did that sort of what would you call it, looming behind Hillary Clinton, and she's just like, that's kind of creepy, right? Yeah. If he does that behind Joe Biden, first off, he's going to get very scared. Like Peter Pan with a shadow.
Yeah.
And then he'd probably swat, and then Donald Trump will probably swat back, and then it'll just be like rock'em sock'em old guys are just going to be hitting each other. I wouldn't be surprised. Because you were talking about two very big egos.
Oh, yeah. Very, very, very.
Two very, very big egos. One guy is already president. The other guy was vice president, feels entitled to it, and is crazy.
I mean, you get Joe Biden. He wants to fight his own constituents.
Yeah, he does.
I mean, he's challenging his own
I like
voters
that.
to fights. You think he's not going to challenge Trump?
Yeah.
Like, let's take it behind soundstage.
You want to talk to me like that?
Let's take it behind soundstage.
We'll go outside.
You're going to have to leave me there because I can't walk straight.
Yeah.
But, just take me back there.
Help me out there.
What are you going to say?
Who would you think would win
In a fist fight?
Yeah,
Oh,
fist fight.
easy.
Joe, well, I will say Donald Trump is a lot bigger, but listen, as much, and I think Donald Trump has been a pretty good president. He's pretty gelatinous. Like, let's be honest, he's not a guy who's done anything super physical.
He can absorb the
He can-
blows,
he
though,
can
Stephen.
take
The
the blows,
gelatinous, he
throw
just
his weight
moves.
around.
Joe Biden is, it depends. I mean, it also comes down to fight IQ. And so here's the thing. Okay, this is the
physical,
question right
not
now. Who do
verbal.
you think would win in a physical fight between Joe Biden and Donald Trump? This is actually an interesting question.
Yeah.
So Donald Trump obviously has the reach advantage. He obviously has the size advantage.
Yes.
He's much
Right.
larger,
He does.
physically stronger. And Donald Trump has had a lot of involvement with boxing and with mixed martial arts.
What?
So he's been a fan of the sport
Early
quite a
on.
bit. Yeah,
Oh,
Trump
I didn't
at
know that.
Doesn't
Trump
make
Mahal.
him good at it.
Doesn't make him good at it, but he's been following it. He's been on the periphery for quite a while.
It's true.
Joe Biden, on the flip side, is smaller, but he does seem to maintain his fitness. He claims that he boxed when he was a young person, but he also claimed that he ate at Amy's Diner, which had been closed for 34 years. So I don't know. Let's assume they have no combat history. Physical advantages, certainly to Donald Trump in size and power.
Yes.
As far as endurance, probably Joe Biden, but here is sort of the outlier. Crazy usually beats big every time. And so I don't, like Joe Biden is actually an insane person.
You think it might be like a crackhead and he could take more hits?
I think it might be one of those things, someone on PCP. You know how they talk about being hit on the button, right? Like we were talking about this earlier. If you hit on the button is where you actually get hit and it creates enough vibration, right, that there's shock to the brain. It rattles around. But if their button's already been hit, but really just on a mental level, in other words, you hit, it's not going to show up in a CAT scan.
No.
It's like I hit you right in the button, and it could be a Tyler Durden. You don't know where I've been. You have no idea.
Yeah.
Crazy beats big. They're both a little crazy, but I think that Joe Biden is clinically insane, and that could play in his favor.
I think he's much more frail right now too than Donald Trump, and I think the frailty part, like you hit him once. If you just actually Donald Trump, all he has to do is step out of the way, dodge one blow, and the guy's going face first.
Or if Donald Trump could throw a perfect leg kick, like a low kick, tie leg kick, and just snap the femur of Biden.
He's got legs. I think he could throw a good kick.
If leg kick, if you just have Donald like, hey Biden, and turn his hip over, and just Joe Biden, but why'd I stop? You stopped because your tibia was snapped in half, you fool.
I think Donald Trump has got to go with a circle Joe till he gets out of his vision.
Yeah,
and then it's that moment
because the cataracts.
Yeah, he's got a narrow. He's got very low, peripheral vision, and as soon as he gets out of his vision, Joe will forget that he's in a fight. Then it's easy.
We're good. Yeah, we're done.
I want to know who the coaches are going to be.
Yeah,
that would be great. I tell you what, it'd be great if just Donald Trump brought out the black trainer from the Rocky film.
Yeah, that would be.
I told you don't circle into his power hand. Stop the fight. Like, okay.
It's all about looks with Donald
Right.
Trump. He's like,
Oh my gosh.
And Joe Biden's corner man would just be like a hermit crab in a Diet Coke can, like, I pinch. What's going on? Like, hey, you're not offering me any help here, Mr. Hermit.
Pinch him.
This was a bad plan. What happened to Angelo Dundee? I have a hermit crab. Huh? Who stopped? You did.
Bam.
You
Right.
stopped, Joe.
On that note, we do have to get going. So, a couple of quick announcements here. Announcements tonight. We are going to be doing Mass Monday, talking about Rhett and
sir.
Link for people who haven't been MugClub members. That's where we get into a little bit of theology, philosophy, sort of faith-based discussion. Tomorrow, Jean-Guy Tremblay is going to be live streaming
Yes, he is.
Call of Duty. So live streaming, you guys requested,
Yeah.
we'll be live streaming and chatting with Dehi Denagla, one of the biggest video gamers on YouTube. And I will say this too, Wednesday morning in Good Morning Mug Club, the most offensive thing that we've ever broadcast.
Yeah.
Ever in the history of this program.
It's upsetting.
And I seriously, I don't say that lightly. Vox Apocalypse, all of this right now in this pandemic, you don't want to tune in Wednesday. Thank you so much. We appreciate it. It is Mug Club Quarantine. The promo code is Quarantine, $30 off. We do appreciate your support. We'll see you tonight.
Cheer up,